Although the Beats Solo Pros have some significant upgrades over the Beats Solo 3s, to me, the Beats Solo Pros are overhyped and definitely overpriced at $300. Even though their active noise cancellation is fairly decent, and I really like that they finally have a transparency mode, something that's been standard for a while now, I just find it very hard to justify getting these headphones when there are a whole bunch of other great ANC headphones out there that either just perform better or just cost less. Personally, I think that paying $300 on any pair of on-ear headphones is a lot. Now, obviously, I'm being a little harsh on the Solo Pros, because I gotta look at them as $300 headphones. But personally, I would only consider getting the Beats Solo Pro if they're on sale for $200. Maybe $220. But I think that anything above $250 is a lot for these headphones. So in the event that these headphones are on sale, and if you do want to pick them up, they'll be linked down below. But I'm also going to leave links to some alternatives that I highly recommend. Now first, let's talk about the carrying case that comes included with the Beats Solo Pro. Whenever you're paying upwards of $300 on any pair of headphones, a hard shell case is to be expected. But since these are Beats, you're stuck with a soft shell case instead. So if you plan on traveling or commuting a lot with these headphones, you gotta be careful about now crushing them if they're in your backpack. So I feel that for $300, a soft shell case is unacceptable, but if these were $200 headphones, it's fair game. But something that I just think is downright unacceptable is that these headphones don't come included with an audio cable because they don't have an audio jack. The only port on these headphones is a lightning port, which is obviously used for charging. Now, personally, I think that the removal of the audio jack on these headphones is just downright stupid, because there are just some times where you still need a wired connection. Now, I highly doubt that if you're a creator, you're going to be picking up a pair of Beats to monitor your audio. But if you're a casual consumer, you can't do something as simple as just plugging your headphones in to watch an in-flight movie when you're in an airplane. But don't worry, Apple's got you covered. If you really want to use a wired connection with your $300 headphones, all you gotta do is just spend $35 for their Lightning to 3.5mm audio cable, bringing the grand total of these headphones up to $335 plus tax. I just don't think this is right, specifically for constant flyers looking for a pair of headphones. But now let's talk about the headphones themselves. The most crucial thing to take into consideration whenever picking any pair of headphones is comfort. If your headphones don't fit right, you're not going to want to use them. And plainly said, I don't wear the Solo Pros, I endure them. The Solo Pros have a lot of clamping force, so they definitely aren't big head approved. I even think that people with average size heads will find the Solo Pros to be a little too tight on them as well. The most I can go with these headphones on is an hour before I finally tap out. Besides having a lot of clamping force, the other reasons that I find these headphones to be so uncomfortable is because obviously they're on-ear headphones instead of over-ear headphones like the Sony 1000 XM3 or Bose NC700, but also the padding on the Solo Pros is fairly stiff and there isn't much of it either, leading to some very tender ears after I'm done wearing the Solo Pros. But also, the headband on the Solo Pros have very little padding as well, which leads to a lot of discomfort on the top of your head. Usually, on-ear headphones are less comfortable than over-ear headphones, but I think that the Solo Pros are the least comfortable headphones I've ever worn, because there are plenty of other on-ear headphones out there that are still fairly comfortable. Now, tech specs wise, the Solo Pros have an advertised battery life of 22 hours with active noise cancellation or transparency mode turned on. And for me, I've been able to go a solid week in between charge of these headphones. So, not bad at all. But the fast charging on these headphones, on the other hand, is very average. If you plug these headphones in for 10 minutes from a dead battery, they're going to get you 3 hours of playback time. Which is okay, but we're starting to see more and more headphones these days get you 5 hours of playback time from that same 10-minute charge. Regarding Bluetooth connectivity, just like the AirPods Pro, the Beats Solo Pros have Apple's new H1 chip. So pairing to your iPhone is super easy, barely an inconvenience. And you can also easily hot swap between any of your Apple devices associated to your iCloud account. Great for power users. And just like AirPods, the Beats Solo Pros have always listening Siri. So you can talk to Siri by just saying, "Hey Siri, do the thing," which is great if you have your hands full or if you just don't want to take your phone out of your pocket. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones, because these headphones sound very different from the Solo 3s for the better. But I do think some people will be a little upset. Sound signature-wise, these headphones put an emphasis on the mids and vocals, and they still have a decent amount of bass to them, which can be heard. Which personally, I'm a fan of, but I know some people will be disappointed. The Beats Solo Pros sound decent, but you don't actually feel the bass on these headphones rattling your head as much as before, which I know some people actively look for in a pair of headphones. Some people will think of this as a downgrade, but the Solo Pros sound way more balanced this time around. But from a performance standpoint, the Solo Pros sound like your everyday pair of $200 headphones. Their instrument separation and soundstage is average, but I can't help but feel that their bass gets eerily close to bottoming out when listening to bass-heavy music. All in all, the Solo Pros sound good enough and they should please most people. But if you're looking for head-rattling bass, then you might want to look elsewhere. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones, because even though it blocks out a decent amount of noise, overall I still think it's a bit of a mixed bag. Now the ANC on the Solo Pros manages to keep up with the big boys like the Sony 1000 XM3 and Bose NC700s, but so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. Like you may have just seen, the Beats Solo Pros gave the Bose NC700s a run for their money, but the Sonys still block out the most amount of noise here. But from an overall performance standpoint, the ANC on the Solo Pro is still a little far behind. Now the ANC on the Solo Pros doesn't change how your music sounds, which is good, but when it comes to cabin pressure, that's another story. The ANC on the Solo Pros automatically adjusts itself depending on your environment. If you're in a quiet environment where the ANC on these headphones doesn't have to work all that hard, you'll barely notice any cabin pressure. But if you're in a louder environment where the ANC on these headphones does have to start working a lot harder, that's when you'll start to notice some cabin pressure. Some people can deal with it, but for some other people, this may lead to headaches, or at the very least, constantly feeling the need to pop your ears. Whereas both the Bose and Sonys have considerably less cabin pressure than the Solo Pros, which is what you want. But also, the ANC on the Solo Pros really likes to pick up wind noise when used outdoors, which is very surprising because the AirPods Pro pick up basically zero wind noise when used outdoors. And this is because the microphone on the Solo Pros are so exposed, whereas the microphones on the Bose NC700, Sony 1000 XM3, and even the AirPods Pro are much better shielded, resulting in all of them picking up much less wind noise than the Solo Pros. Now, besides active noise cancellation, another major feature on the Solo Pros is that they now have a transparency mode. So you can set these headphones to pump in some of the ambient sound around you so that you can still be aware of your surroundings when you're walking around the city, or you can do what I do and have transparency mode turned on so that when you're watching a movie at home, if someone calls your name, you can still hear them. Now, I'm glad that the Solo Pros finally have a transparency mode, But this is something that should have been included back when the Beats Studio 3s came out. But nonetheless, the transparency mode on these headphones is for the most part decent. There's no hissing in the background, which is crucial if you plan on watching lots of videos or movies with these headphones, and it sounds natural. But like the ANC on these headphones, transparency mode still likes to pick up a lot of wind noise when used outdoors. But also, the transparency mode on these headphones is still a little behind the competition because you can't actually adjust how much ambient sound these headphones pump in, and also the transparency mode on these headphones pump in everything. They don't actively block out sudden loud spikes and noises like the Sony 1000 XM3s or Surface headphones, saving you from jump scares. But just like AirPods, the Beats Solo Pros have a great sounding microphone for phone calls. Now this is still technically a very big deal because a lot of other third-party ANC headphones out there still struggle with their microphone for phone calls. But I still think the Bose NC700 still have the best sounding microphone out there. Now technically these are a pair of $400 ANC headphones, so this isn't an apples to apples comparison, but still. But overall, even though the Beats Solo Pros have some important upgrades and improvements over the Beats Solo 3s, I still can't recommend or justify paying $300 for these headphones. First off, $300 for any pair of on-ear headphones is a lot. But still, these headphones are very uncomfortable to wear. Even though these headphones sound better than previous Beats, they still sound like your everyday pair of headphones. Even though the active noise cancellation on these headphones block out a considerable amount of noise, they have considerably more cabin pressure than other headphones out there. But for me, I just think that these headphones just not having an audio jack, and Apple having the balls to charge you $35 for an audio cable is just insulting. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick another products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.